In this video, I'm going to teach you the Friday workout for phase 2 of the Foundation Movement System program. This is the deadlift workout. So we're going to teach you all of the lower body and core exercises that you need to know in order to be able to do this whole workout at home on your own. Make sure you stick around to the end so you learn the correct technique for the whole workout. All that and more coming up.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.
The first exercise that we're going to be doing is called the back body line, and the first two exercises that we do in the program are both for the handstand. The way we work the Foundation Movement System is we do skill training first before strength training. This comes straight after your warm-up, and if you haven't grabbed the mobility mini course, you want to grab that because that's the full warm-up that we recommend doing before these workouts. So for the back body line, Richard is going to grab onto this dowel rod here, and he's going to bring his feet and hands together and lift his shoulders right off the ground, so he's really engaging his abs there. And then he's going to spread his hands and legs apart, just so for a lot of you that'll be it. That's going to be all you can do. And what we're looking for is to make sure that the shoulders don't go down, the abs stay switched on, and your lower back is firmly pressed against the ground. Now Richard's very good at this, so he can go all the way down and he can still maintain his lower back being firmly on the ground. You can rest now for a second, Richard. Now the idea of this is to go as low as you can, but you have to be very, very critical of yourself here, because the cues, Richard, just go back to the first position again, please. So the idea of coming together like this is so that you can feel that your abs are engaged and the lower back pushes firmly on the ground. Now as you slowly separate your hands and feet apart, this shouldn't change. The lower back should stay firmly on the ground, so you can watch as Richard goes down, he doesn't lose that beautiful, what's called a hollow body, with the lower back firmly on the ground, abs engaged, shoulder blades off the ground. So relax now, Richard. And those are the cues that you're looking for. Number 1, lower back always firmly on the ground. Number 2, feel it in your abs. Now we write in the program up to 60 seconds. That's the goal, not the expectation. Now when I started doing this exercise, and I'd done a lot of core training before this, but when I started doing this, I could barely do it for 20 to 30 seconds, and that was with my hands and legs at an angle like this. Be very critical of yourself. Practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. It's very important that you understand that principle, and that is the back body line. The next one that we're going to do is called the front body line. Now this exercise is, there's a lot more cues to it than the back body line. The back body line was quite simple. There's a lot to this one. Now we're going to go through it step by step, okay? So the first is we're going to squeeze the heels together. The second one is we're going to straighten the knees. The third, we're going to tense the bum. Next, we're going to suck the stomach in. Now, I should definitely be able to get my fingers under Richard's stomach here. Okay, you can see there's a gap there where I can get my fingers under his stomach. And then next, the nose is touching the mat. And then the last one, the hands are going to lift just about 1 inch off the ground. That's it. That's the front body line there. So again, heels together, bum tense, stomach sucked in, and hands 1 inch off the ground. He's not lifting his bum off the ground. The hips are pushing into the ground and the stomach is sucking in. You can relax now, Richard. So we've just done our workout today, so Richard's already a little bit fatigued, so I promised him that I wouldn't make him do this stuff for too long. So the cues for this are, what's really, really important is when I say suck your stomach in and tense your bum, I'm basically telling you to do this. It's called a posterior pelvic tilt. Don't make the mistake of lifting your bum off the ground. Push your hips into the ground, tense the bum, and suck the stomach in so that you'd be able to get your fingers under there. Now, when you're learning this, you won't even worry about the hands. The only thing you're going to think about is from here down to the feet. So feet together, knees straight, bum tense, stomach sucked in, just like what Richard's doing. And only if you can do all of that and hold it for a prolonged period of time do you then bring your hands about 1 inch off the ground. And hands should be about shoulder width apart. If your hands were beside you and you raised them like that, that's where they would be, okay? And that is the front body line. Those two exercises are paired together, which means you're going to do 1 set of the back body line, then 1 set of the front body line. The amount of rest that you take is up to you, no more than 60 seconds, and the less rest you can do, the better. So the way you improve first is you could have a 60-second rest and try to increase the amount of time that the holds go for. Once you get up to that 60-second hold, you can start to decrease the rest time until you get down to a very minimal rest, maybe only about 10 or 15 seconds. And that's how you're going to improve with the front body line and back body line. Now, this takes quite a bit of time to master. For the average person, if you do this 5 days a week, it'll take between 3 and 6 months in our experience. And after that time, you're going to be ready to move on to real handstand training, and you're going to have a beautiful straight body line in the handstand. All right, now we're on to the single leg squat. This is a progression for our deadlift pattern. So from here, Richard's got a barbell now over his shoulder, and he's just going to bend at the hips. So have a look. And a little bit of a bend at the knee as well, just a little bit, and then come up and drive the hips forward. Okay, so just do a couple of reps, Richie. Controlled on the way down, and then up with a little bit of speed. When you get to the top, you can see, have a look at that neutral spine. Now at the top, he tucks his bum in to a posterior pelvic tilt to get maximum glute activation. You can see when you watch Richard do this, this is exactly the same movement pattern as the kettlebell, as the single leg kettlebell deadlift. So what's going on in his body is exactly the same. But by putting a barbell on your shoulders, it completely changes the fulcrum point. It changes where the point of weight is, and it makes it harder to balance. So that it just makes it a little bit harder on the lower body. Now, if you turn and face the camera, please, Richie. Take note of his hips when he does this here. Okay, you're going to see that his hips stay relatively facing forward. His knee tracks over his toes, and we're looking at really concentrating on keeping the balance. When he does it, just turn side on again. Do one more, Richie. You can see here the leg that goes up in the air, just let it do whatever it wants to do when you watch what Richard does. So that leg just does whatever it wants, as long as you don't let it touch the ground. Ideally, even at the top, you don't let the foot touch the ground, but if it needs to touch the ground for balance, that's totally fine. And that is the single leg squat. So now we're on to hanging knee raises. So this one is paired with the single leg squat. So Richard's going to grab onto a chin up bar. Because he's so vertically gifted, he has to grab right up the top there. And now if you watch, the first thing he's going to do is, when he goes from relaxation, he's going to tense his abs and create a hollow body. So see that? We're going to do that again, Richard. And so that's relaxed, and now he's going to tense the abs and create a hollow body. That's exactly what we do on the floor when we do our bent knee hollow body hold. And then from here, he's going to bring the knees up, and now slowly on the way down, and you can see keeping that beautiful hollow body, and then he relaxes. So just do a couple of reps in your own time now, Richard. Awesome. So what we're doing here, this is really important, he's pushing the bar away from him. He's not pulling to help. So this is not about the shoulders, it's about the abs. Go again. So hollow body first, knees up, coming back down slowly, and then release. That is very hard for a lot of people. What a lot of people struggle with is, even if they engage the abs here at the start, go Richie. Yeah, now raise the knees. Now let the abs go into extension as you go down. They go like that when they go back down, so they go into extension as they come down, or even worse, just do some where you don't even go into a hollow body. See that? They just raise their knees like this. And that is doing 2/5 of bugger all for the abs. All that's really doing is working the hip flexors, and that's not what our goal is here. So beyond that, it's a pretty simple technique. That is the hanging knee raise. Okay, now we're on to the flat football isometric hold. So in the first program, we did a 45-degree football isometric hold where you're on a bit of an angle and the feet were down on the ground. Now what Richard's going to do is raise his feet up on the wall. Okay, and we're going to try and get to a flat position, and then he's going to bring his arms up next to his head like this. Okay, we're trying to straighten the legs, trying to keep all this posterior chain activated. If you want to make it harder, you can bring your hands out in front of you. And if you want to make it even harder, you can hold on to a weight. But in all honesty, it's not really about holding a lot of weight here. We're just trying to hold this position to get good posterior chain activation. This position is so important in the foundation movement system because these muscles become very, very weak in people that sit down for too long. It's a critical part of movement practice to strengthen the posterior chain. So that's why we do so much work of it here. And besides all we're doing here is just raising the legs a bit higher and keeping this nice posture. It's pretty simple, and that is the flat football isometric hold. All right, now we're on to the glute bridge. So this is a progression from the glute bridge with the band around the knees, and now we're going to be using a little bit of a weight here. So we've got a 10 kilo barbell here. You can use dumbbells or kettlebells or anything that will add weight onto this, and Richard's just going to push his hips up into the air, all the way up and then down under control. Pushing up and then down under control. He's driving through his heels, so you can see he can even lift his toes off the ground because there's no weight going through the toes at all. Beyond that, this is probably one of the most basic exercises you can do. It's very, very good for people that have lower back injuries because there's a very low risk of injury to the lower back, but it does wonders for strengthening the posterior chain. And the reason why we use it in the foundation movement system is because it's really, really good at strengthening the posterior chain with a very low risk of injury and not a lot that can go wrong when you're doing the technique. As long as you're driving through the heels, pushing up as high as you can, tensing your glutes and tucking your pelvis forward to create a posterior pelvic tilt. So if you do a couple of incorrect reps with an anterior pelvic tilt, which you see, it's hard for him to do because he's done it so many times. But if you look at his back here, it's arching a little bit. Now do it with a posterior pelvic tilt. See the difference there? He engaged his abs and pushed his hips forward. And that is the supine glute bridge with a dumbbell or barbell. So phase 2 L-sit training, we're going to be doing the single leg tuck L-sit. Now this is much easier on parallettes or seats or something like this, so Richard will just do it. And we're just going to hold this position. Awesome. So what we're looking for here is, just like in the first progression of the tuck L-sit, we're looking for roughly a 45-degree angle in the hips and a 90-degree angle in the knees. So just bring those feet up forward a little bit more. Richard's a little bit more advanced, so he forgets what it's like for a beginner. We just do it like that, and then the one leg comes out. Perfect. The next thing is that the shoulders stay depressed as you're doing this. We don't want the shoulders to protract, and we're not trying to retract them. A lot of people struggle with not protracting, so they need to, you feel like you're trying to pull your shoulders back, but we're not trying to actually retract. So that is the number one thing. I'm going to say that again. Depression, depression, depression. Push your shoulders down as hard as you can. Keep your elbows straight and get the hips roughly at a 45-degree angle, knees roughly at a 90-degree angle, except for the one leg that goes straight. Let's have another look, Richie. So he depresses his shoulders, lifts his knees up, then the one leg goes out, and then he's just going to hold that. Awesome. So when you do, you'll see this in your notes on how to do isometric holds. You only ever work at about 60 to 70% of what your max hold is. So if Richard could do that for 10 seconds and that was it, if someone held a gun to his head, he couldn't do 11 seconds with good technique, then what he'd actually be doing is sets of about 6 or 7 seconds in each set. And that is the single leg tuck L-sit. So next we're doing pronation and supination with a dowel rod. This is really good because with a dowel rod you can control how difficult it is for you just by moving your hand away from the center. So the closer your hand is to the center, the easier it is, and the further away your hand is from the center, the harder it is. So from here, what I'm going to do, hold the dowel rod and I'm going to put it on a little bit of an angle so that these two knuckles line up with my forearm. I'm also going to flatten out that angle there. Okay, so I don't want to be like this. This is really wrong. And if when you bring your hand this way, it kind of forces it into that position. So flatten that out. And then from here to your elbow is going to stay very still, and the only thing that's going to move is a rotation. So this is called the pronator position, and then we're going to go to a supinator position. We're going to stop with the dowel rod horizontal to the ground. So what you can do here is give it a bit of speed here, and then try to control it so it stops near the ground there. Okay, so I'm keeping my elbow in. This is actually a way that you can progress this movement itself is if you hold your arm out straight like that. That does change it and make it harder. So you don't necessarily have to start straight like this. I would recommend that you start with a bent arm, but you know, as you go down the months of the program, what you can do is when you come back to it, because we do this wrist strengthening exercises a lot in the foundation movement system, so you won't just do this for 6 weeks and then that's it, you'll never do it again, you'll constantly come back to it. So a good way to make it harder later on is to straighten the arm like that and work your pronation and supination this way. And that is the pronation and supination with a dowel rod. Now we're on to grip crushing reps, and what I've got here is a Captains of Crush grip crusher. These things aren't that cheap. In Australia, I think they're about $40 or $50. I'm not sure exactly how much they are in the US. So if you don't want to get one of these, it's totally cool. You can bypass this and you can either just hang from a chin-up bar for as long as you possibly can for 3 sets. That'll also strengthen the grip, or you can do the weight plate pinching. But this is a really good exercise, and we've included it in here because grip strength is a critical part of overall strength. So all I'm going to do from here is hold it down with my arms straight, and I'm basically just going to crush it together. So you can see I'm locking my elbow out straight, crushing it so that it touches together, and then opening. Crushing it so it touches and opening. I'm not bending my elbow when I do it. I'm making sure the arm stays straight. And besides that, the only thing you really need to know is put it up against the heel of your palm and then put it with your fingers here and squeeze it closed. And those are grip crushing reps. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked that video. If you did and you want to see more like that, consider subscribing to our channel and ticking the notification bell so you get notified when we do videos. We post new videos every week, Monday in Australia, Sunday in America and Europe, and you can see all really cool videos on exercise tutorials, exercise instructions, workout tutorials, mindset hacks, and nutrition hacks. And if you've got any questions, if there's anything that you would like to see us make for you specifically, just leave a comment and we'll get around to it. Until next time, see you later.
Blueberries,
Blueberries and peanut butter.
Don't forget it.
Don't forget it. When I walk out there, go to Woolies. And in the morning I have to have some peanut butter.
Action.
Well, fuck it. We can just use that one for the same one.